My name is Jersten Serile. I've known rivers, ancient dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I've known rivers, ancient dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I've known rivers, ancient dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. And so when I speak, my tongue is of revolution. The very essence of my being is revolutionary. The radical exists in me, therefore I am Hamlet the radical. Hamlet the radical, none other than a black-born native of the earth, and thus the native hue of resolution speaks. Revolution. The native who questions. Oh God. Identity. The native who questions his identity, his genes, his DNA. God. I can't even begin to tell stories without questioning identity. I can't even begin to think without questioning identity. What is identity? What is it like to wake up one day and discover that all you know is gone? To grow up, to go from one world to the next where you are demeaned for who you naturally are. That's growing up. Shit. Stop calling my house, I already have your letter. Father, I'm tired. Protests outside of my hotel, harassing phone calls, and now a letter. Yes, I know what this means. I should probably find a lawyer and have a drink or two, but I'm not going to do that. Why? Because what is the worst they can do to me if I'm already Negro? And have you ever wondered why out of all the names made available in the English vocabulary, they decide to call it blacklist? I mean, why doesn't this letter says, Mr. Hughes, you've been red listed? After all, the natural color of courage is fiery red. Soft you.
Okay, we're going to go into our pieces, please.
Okay. Object, there was none. Passion, there was none. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. He had never given me insult. For his gold, I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. He had the eye of a vulture, a pale blue eye with a thermal grip. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. And so, by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Now, this is the point. You fancy me mad. But you should have seen how wisely I proceeded. I was never kinder to the old man than during the week before I had killed him. And every night, about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it oh so gently. And then I put in a dark lantern all closed so that no light shone out, and then thrust my head in. Oh, you would have laughed to see how cunningly I thrust it in. And then I undid the lantern cautiously, just so much that a single thin ray fell upon the vulture eye. And this I did for 7 long nights, but found the eye always closed. So it was impossible to do the work. For it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. And every morning, when day broke, I went boldly into the chamber and spoke to him, inquiring, "How did you pass the night?" the celebrated jumping frog of Calaveras County. There was a fella here once by the name of Jersten Serile. In the winter of '49, he was the curious man about always betting, and if he couldn't, he'd change sides. But still, he was common lucky. He most always come out the winner. If there was a horse race, if there was a dog fight, if there was a chicken fight, why, if there was two birds sitting on a fence, he would bet you which one would fly first. Matilda Loisel was one of those pretty, charming young ladies born into a family of clerks. She had no dowry, no hopes, no means of becoming known, appreciated, loved, and married by a man either rich or distinguished. She allowed herself to marry a petty clerk in the office of the Board of Education. She suffered incessantly, feeling herself born for all delicacies and luxuries. But in the evening, when her husband came home, she had been dreaming of antechambers lighted by high bronze torches, and she thought of elegant diners with shining silver and tapestry peopling the walls with ancient heroes and rare birds singing in enchanted forests. Only a few weeks ago, I was returning homeward from one of the neighboring villages. The night was abramble with heat lightning, and the wind was as warm as the devil's breath. I overtook a rider on the Greenberg Road and offered to race him for a bowl of punch. I thought him a rude customer at first, until I found that he had good reason for not replying. He had no tongue because he had no head. But when his goblin horse flew down the road like a gunshot, I knew my wager had been accepted. In 2 ticks, cha, cha, I had drawn abreast of the beheaded Hissian, and in another 2, cha, cha, I was out in front. The sound of the monster's hoofbeats whipped the very leaves from the trees, and then up ahead, I saw the finish line where I proposed, the churchyard. The headless horseman caught up with me, but I pulled ahead again. And we raced up to the church bridge with the crashing of our horses' hooves as loud as doomsday. And just when I reached the churchyard gate, the Hissian vanished in a flash of fire. Next time, I'll be sure to give him a head start. And I was shocked, mind you. Another king, how lovely. I was shocked.
I'm going to have to go to the next piece, please.
Okay.
Actually, the next piece, the next character.
Okay. Mr. White looked at his wife and was afraid of her. His brow grew with sweat. Too late, he realized the enormity of what he had done at her bidding. He'd fallen into the machinery, caught in the moving machinery. I wished him back a mutilated horror. But minutes dragged past, and nothing happened. It didn't work. It didn't work there. You see, at least take comfort in the fact that wretched thing didn't take out Herbert in the first place. It was the hand of God that did, and not a foolish witch. As a drowning man's life passes before his mind's eye, Mr. White's memory confronted him with a single phrase, to show that those who interfere with faith do so their sorrow.
I'd like you to go back to the jumping frog piece.
Okay.
And I'd like you to have some more fun with it.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
The celebrated jumping frog of Calaveras County. There was a fella here once once by the name of Jim Smiley in the winter of '49. He was the curious man about always betting on anything that turned up you ever seen. If he could get anybody to bet on the other side. And if he couldn't, he changed sides. But still, he was uncommon lucky. He must always come out the winner. If there was a horse race, if there was a dog fight, if there was a chicken fight, why, if there was two birds sitting on the fence, he would bet you which one would fly first.
I'm going to take it one more time, and I want you to listen up.
Okay.
Okay?
The celebrated jumping frog of Calaveras County. There was a fella here once by the name of Jim Smiley. In the winter of '49, he was the curious man about always betting on anything that turned up your eyes ever seen. If he couldn't get anybody to bet on the other side, and if he couldn't, he changed sides. But still, he was uncommon lucky. He most always come out the winner. If there was a horse race, if there was a dog fight, if there was a chicken fight, why, if there was two birds sitting on the fence, he'd bet you which one fly first.